Okay, so let's take a look at how you can install PostgreSQL on Windows 10. So first thing that we are going to do would be go to official PostgreSQL website, and there we are going to choose downloads page from button or from navigation menu. After clicking on download button, it should take us to the list of operating system where we can install PostgreSQL, and in my case I'm going to choose Windows. So clicking on that should take you to option to download installer or zip archive. Okay, in case of 32-bit and 64-bit, those version numbers are also listed which are supported for 64-bit. And now the installer would look something like this once downloaded from official page. Okay, it will ask you for UAC permission on Windows, and the wizard will start. Okay, so make sure to go to this download install link, then Enterprise DB website, and download this installer. So now the wizard is started. What we'll do is wait for it to show us the steps for installing. Okay, now here you see, first it will ask you to click on next button, so we'll do that. Then in next step we have to choose installation directory. Make sure to install it in E drive or any other drive than the drive which has Windows installation. This is to avoid any permission issues while your database is running. Next step would be to click on the next button, and in next button we will see what are the components that are going to be installed. Okay, and then we will click on next after checking all those, and after that we will also see data directory. The choice is already made for us, so we will click next. Now comes the password part. Choose the easy to remember password which you will be using while writing your configuration in various React or any other language specific project. Now I am choosing something simple and clicking on next. Here the port is 5432, which is default. Okay, so we will keep it as is without changing. We move to next. Now then comes the part where you can choose local. I will choose English India. Okay, once chosen, depending on your local, you can move next. Here all your previously selected options are listed, including the port and also your super user name, which is Postgres. Okay, so after that we will click on next. Right, so all these are listed. Let's go next. Now it will start the installation. Okay, after some time what will happen is the installation will end and it will present you with final screen of the wizard. Okay, here you see stack builder will be running after the exit, so click on finish button, and from there what we will do is we will see what components and add-ons are offered by stack builder. Okay, so as you can see, the stack builder will first ask you to choose the existing installation. So in my case that's PostgreSQL 12. Then click on next. Okay, here you will be presented with a list of add-ons, and also if there are any existing instances of PostgreSQL database. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we are going to pick if we want anything. Currently I don't want to install any add-on, so I'll just show you what you can choose from the list. You have drivers, tools, existing database, and other instances like previous versions of Postgres that you can install. Okay, then you can keep exploring for any other things that you can add if you want, but considering this is a vanilla or say blank install, I wouldn't be adding any tools or add-ons. Okay, so if you try to move to next without selecting anything, it will throw an error that you have to choose something to proceed ahead. So we'll just cancel that out. Okay, and we will directly move to Psql shell. Okay, so just go through all the list and see if you wish to install anything, or simply cancel it out. Okay, as you can see, there are previous versions of PostgreSQL which you can exit out. Now let's move to Psql shell from PostgreSQL folder. Click on that. Okay, this should open in command prompt where you have to add your configuration. Let's say localhost, then your other details like username and password will be asked. Also you have to add port, and finally it will start the shell. Okay, if you can see this shell running, that means Postgres is installed. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create database in PostgreSQL with SQL query named CreateDB. Okay, so what we'll do is make sure that you have PostgreSQL installed, and in your Windows menu go to all apps and then go for PostgreSQL, and here choose SQL shell. Now once SQL shell is open, what you can do is give it the configuration details. Let's say by default you have port, okay, then password. Now next thing you can do is you can use a SQL query named CreateDB to further create a new database. Okay, so we will take a look at that. So create database, and let's say name of this database is testdb, then semicolon you can use and hit enter. Okay, now it has managed to run your query, and to verify whether you have your testdb database created, what you can do is use / and then type L. So / L should output lists of available databases you have on your system currently, so that will be listed. Here's the testdb is created and listed here. So you get the idea how to use CreateDB SQL command in your Psql shell. So let's take a look at how you can create table in PostgreSQL database. So we'll take a look at create table command. So what we'll do is we'll open Psql shell or SQL shell. When you install Postgres, you will find that in your menu for installed modules in Postgres. Okay, here you see SQL shell. Okay, once you open this, what you should do is connect to your local host, add your database, then port. Okay, then also I have to mention username and password, and I get connected to default database. Now what I will do is I will move to my testdb database and hit enter. Okay, it says I am connected to this database as user Postgres. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a command. So create table, and name of the table is this company. Okay, now and within bracket I'm going to add ID, which is going to be integer and primary key. Okay, and it is not supposed to be null. Also I'm going to add name, which is going to be text and not null, then age, integer, not null, and finally salary. So that's going to be integer, and we may allow it to be null if the person who is employed loses the job. Okay, so end your statement with semicolon and hit enter. Okay, and as you can see, if it returns with message table create table as that command name, then your table is created. To verify that you have that table, so what you will do is /t, okay, and then type in company, and it should return with the list of columns, as you can see, ID, name, age, and salary, where it shows you what columns are allowed to be null and not null. Okay, so you get the idea how to use create table SQL command in Postgres database. Okay, so let's take a look at how to use insert query in PostgreSQL database. So what we will do is first we will open our Psql shell from Postgres. So let me go to PostgreSQL and then open SQL shell. Here I may have to type in server database port, then username, and also password, and then I will log into this database, which is by default Postgres. So I want to switch to another database, so I will use /c, and then let's say testdb is my database. Now here I already have one table name company, so forward /t company, and here you see these 4 columns I have: ID, name, age, salary. Now what I will do is I will simply show you insert query. So let's take a look at query. Insert into the name of your table, mark the fields, so ID, name, age, salary, and values. Let's say I add 1, then let's add another value. Okay, make sure to end your query with semicolon and then hit enter, and you see insert 01. Now let's insert another one. We have to change few things like ID to 2, then let's say name change. Okay, so I do that as well, just increase with one of the digit, 6500, 5500, etc. At the end, make sure to end it with semicolon, and if you get insert message, that means it is adding it into database. So let's add a third entry as well. Let's add, okay, let's say 7, also 7. Okay, and now finally let me add one more entry for 4th, and then let's add the name change also on salary change. Okay, now all our 4 entries are inserted into the database. Okay, so you see how to use insert query in PostgreSQL database. So let's take a look at how you can use update SQL query in PostgreSQL. So what I'll do is I will open SQL shell and connect to Postgres database. Okay, now as you can see, I have one database named testdb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use /c testdb. Okay, that should connect to testdb database as Postgres user. Next thing would be to check out the table that I have, and as you can see it has 4 fields. I'm going to show you what is inside that table. Okay, here you see I have like 13 entries totally, and if I wish to edit one of these entry, what I will do is I will pick this 13th ID, and let's see if I want to change salary from 6800 to let's say 4200, and we specify ID to update that. So what I will do is update company, which is table name, set salary equals to 4200, where this is the clause we use, and point out the ID equals to 13. Make sure to end this with semicolon and hit enter. Okay, and it will return with update 1. So what I will do is I will simply check for entire table and display it now. And let's see, here you can see the salary is now updated from 6800, as you can see previously, to 4200. Okay, so you get the idea how to use update query to update a table, set particular column to a value and point it out based on ID. Okay, or you can say primary key. So let's take a look at how you can use delete query in PostgreSQL. So what I will do is I will open Psql shell and I log into default Postgres database. Okay, so what I will do is simply connect to my testdb database. Okay, after that I will show you my company table structure. Okay, these are the 4 columns I have. Now to check the content of my table, so we use select query, and here we can see total 13 rows, out of which I wish to delete the 13th entry. So what I will do is I will simply scroll to the bottom so I can show you delete. Now from here we have to name the table. If you just type in delete from company and use semicolon, it can delete entire table. Okay, so we should avoid that, and we have to use where clause and specify which ID we need to delete. So ID equals to 13. Okay, so I'm using primary key ID, and that will help locate that row as well. Okay, you can also add additional where clause, where you can simply say where name is equal to, let's say, Kari. Okay, that will also locate the exact entry. However, if you have a lot of entries where name can be similar, you have to pinpoint it exactly with the help of ID, because that would be the unique number considering its primary key, and it stays unique. So if we run this, that will delete the 13th entry. Now if we select all from the company, you will find that our 13th entry is now removed, which you can compare in the results. So you get the idea how to use delete SQL query in PostgreSQL. So let's take a look at how you can use select query from SQL in PostgreSQL database. So what we'll do is we'll open our Psql shell and let's say log into our local host with database Postgres 5432 port, then username is Postgres, then password, and you logged into your Postgres database by default. Now you can move to your own database, or you can simply use /c testdb. Now here I have one table named company. As you can see, it has 4 columns, and I'm going to see what data it has in all of them. So for that I will use select, then star operator for selecting all the rows, then name of the table, semicolon, and here you see you get ID, name, age, salary, 4 rows total. Similarly, you can selectively get 3 columns, such as let's say select ID, name, and salary from your table, and then use semicolon at the end, and you get this selective data as well. So you get the idea how to use select query in SQL to fetch particular data in PostgreSQL database. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can add column in your PostgreSQL database table. And for that we will open Psql shell. Make sure to log into your specific port, and then here we will connect to our testdb database. Now here, as you can see, I'm going to show you my company table. Total 15 rows are there, and I wish to add one more column for SSN, and I wish to add SSN data there. Okay, so to do that we will make use of alter table command. So type in alter table and name of our table here company, then add a column, let's say name is SSN, and it should contain varchar. Okay, then we don't have anything specific in mind how much should be the length over there in varchar, so we will leave it as is for now and hit enter. And here you see it returns with alter table command back. So we will verify if our column gets added by simply entering select command. Now here you see one more column is added at the end of salary, which is SSN, but it is empty. So you get the idea how to add column to your Postgres database table with alter table and add column command. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use drop column query with your Postgres database table. So I have one column without data and I wish to remove that from my database table. So what I will do is open Psql shell, and here let me connect to testdb database. Okay, now here I have one table name company, so select all from company. Okay, here you see one column SSN carries nothing, so I want to remove that from my table. So to do that we will use alter table. Okay, so we will use alter table and then point to company table, then drop column. Okay, and which column is that? We have to also check for if it exists, remove SSN. Okay, so we use semicolon at the end. Okay, so what we do after this is hit enter, and you can see alter table is used. And now we will check for our all company data, and here you see SSN column is now removed. So you get the idea how to use alter table and drop column to get rid of the column that you don't need in your database table. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use order by in ascending way to manage your data. So what I will do, open PostgreSQL shell, and here we have to connect to our database. Okay, so now I'm going to select all from table, and here I have 15 rows, and I want to order that with name and salary. So what I will do, select, then all from company and order by name, salary, okay, and sort it ascending order. So let's enter, and here you see you have A to Z in ascending order for both data and for name. So first it is sorted by name, and then it is handled for your salary. Okay, considering luckily I have for some records, I have it in low salary, and this is based on your name for ascending order. Okay, so first preference is given to your name or any alphabetical column, and then it is sorted. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use order by for descending list. Okay, so what we'll do is we will output our company data and make sure to check whether that data appears ascending or descending when we are ordering it by particular name or salary. Okay, so open PostgreSQL shell, and here I have to connect to this DB database where I have table named company. So let's select all data. Okay, now I want to sort this, or you can say order by name, okay, in descending order. Okay, so select all from company and order by name and descending, and here you can see from W back to A, okay, in a descending order. So the ID will be fluctuating and it won't be in order. So you get the idea how to use order by clause for displaying descending list of particular data within your table. Okay, so let's take a look at how to use OR operator in PostgreSQL query. So first thing, open Psql shell, then here I have to connect to my testdb database by using /c then space testdb. Okay, now that I'm connected, let me use select all from company table. Okay, here you can see I have like 15 rows of content, and I want to use OR operator to filter some of the data. Okay, so here let's say I want to select from company and where age is greater than equals to 25 or salary equals to 6,000. Now here you see we are using OR operator. So OR operator will work when one of the condition is true. So if age is greater than equal to 25 is true, or if salary is greater than equal to 6,000. Okay, so let's narrow it to 7,000. Okay, if one of the condition is true, then it will execute and output the data. Okay, unlike AND operator, as you know, will only output based on both condition being true. Here we have two conditions, and in case of OR operator, it will only check for one of the condition being true at a time. So let's hit enter, and here you see out of 15 rows we have 11 rows of data that meets this condition. All of them are either above 7,000 of salary, or if not, they are equal to that particular age. So you get the idea how to use OR operator in PostgreSQL query. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use numeric expression in Postgres. So what I will do is I will open Psql shell, and then here you see I am connected to Postgres database using my Postgres username. Okay, now here I can do few of the numeric expression within query with, let's say, when I type in select and then in bracket I do 5 plus 1, and let's say I want it as addition, and if I use semicolon at the end and hit enter, that will return with 6 as addition. Okay, similarly if I use select then 4-2, which is subtraction, so subtraction, and if I hit enter, it will result in 2. As you can see, we can do addition, subtraction, then multiplication within our query with, let's say we type in select, then within bracket we pass on those operator, which is plus, then dash, then that star operator for multiplication, then backward slash for division. Okay, now we can also do different type of other numeric expressions. Let's say select, count, and as, let's see, salary. Hopefully it returns something. Okay, so there is no relation exists because we are not connected to the database. So C test DB, and let me repeat the command because I'm now within test DB where I have that company database, and here you see I have total count of 15 salaries because there are total of 15 records. So what we did here is we counted that particular column from that table. So we use count and then all operator, which works similarly to select all from company where we specifically want salary. So this query will do the same thing. Okay, so you get the idea how to use numeric operation for various mathematical operations as well as for checking out some of the simple result set, like I've shown you with how many count of salaried employees are there. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use AND operator in PostgreSQL query. So what we'll do is we will open Psql shell, and as you can see I logged into Postgres database. Now here I'm going to connect to testdb database with /c testdb. Now I'm connected to testdb as Postgres user. Now next thing would be to basically check out our table named company. Okay, as you can see I have 15 rows here, and I want to create AND operator query that checks for age about 25 and salary above 6,000. So what we'll do is, okay, let me just scroll, create a query, select all from company where age is greater than equal to 25 and salary greater than equal to 6,000. Now AND operator will do output if all the conditions are true, and based on that result will be fetched from our entire data. Okay, so let's hit enter, and here you see both the conditions are satisfied by 5 rows here. As you can see, about 25 and over 6,000 salary. So you get the idea how to use AND operator to filter for a specific condition when you wish to fetch the data. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use between clause in PostgreSQL database. So what I'm going to do is log into Psql shell, and here let me move to TestDB database. Okay, this is the database where I'm going to run my between clause query. So to do that, what I will do is I will basically tell you what between clause is. So when you have some specific range in mind to search for your particular data, you use between clause. So let's take example, select ID name and say age from company where age between 25 and 27. Okay, so in our column age, if there is this range, we will get the result for ID name and age based on that. Okay, so let's hit enter, and here you see all the entries from 25 to 27 are listed here. Okay, anything above or below that will be discarded. So when you have specific range in mind, or you want to limit your data to that range, you can use between clause. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the current date and time functions that you can use in Postgres Psql shell. So first thing would be to open your Psql shell here. So let me add the details. Now that we logged into Postgres shell, here is one command that you can use, select then space current underscore time. Okay, that should output current time. Okay, this is based on the system time that you have. Okay, so if you want to get date, so what you'll do is select current underscore date. Okay, and if you hit enter, that should output the current date. And let's see if I want to get current timestamp. So what I will do is I will type in select then current timestamp. Okay, and then hit enter. So what I think is next would be to get local timestamp. So basically we have checked 3 functions so far, which is current time, then current date timestamp. Check out select local timestamp. If you hit enter, that should show you your local timestamp. So you get the idea how to use these date and time functions in Postgres Psql shell. Okay, so let's take a look at how to use fetch clause. Okay, so if you have used limit in your select query, then I'm sure you know about fetch as well. If not, we will take a look at that. So let's open Psql shell. Okay, so let's take a look at another example where we can see how to use fetch query. So let's say if I select ID name salary from company, okay, and we order by salary and fetch first 5 row only. Okay, and here you see output will be sorted based on ascending salary size. Okay, so from 3200 to 5500, and only first 5 will be in output. So you get the idea how to use fetch query that works similar to limit. So let's take a look at how you can use where clause in PostgreSQL. So what we'll do is open SQL shell, and here I have logged into this Postgres database. Now let's switch to the database I want. Okay, so what you can see here is the SDB database with user Postgres. Okay, now I have table named company, okay, which contains 4 columns: ID, name, age, salary, and can show you the contents of that table. It has 12 rows, and I want to find out how many users over here are above age 25 with salary over 5,000. Okay, to make that query we will make use of where clause. So type in select all from company where age greater than equals to 25. You can use and, or you can use or, depending on how you wish to set the condition. Okay, our current issue is only checking out the where clause and not necessarily thinking about operators such as or and and. So salary greater than equals to, let's say, 5,000, and if we end it with semicolon and hit enter, it will result in all this result, okay, where one of the condition is true. Okay, if you want both of these conditions to be true, then it will use AND operator. Okay, so here you can see everything is listed with one of the conditions being true. Okay, here you see in first entry both satisfies, second, third, and onwards, up to a point where you can see age is below 25 but the salary is above 5,000. Okay, so one of the entry remains true, then it will output that. So if we use AND, then it will only output based on the AND condition. And here you see you can get a total of 5 rows for this whenever only age is above 25 and salary is over 5,000. Okay, so where is basically helping you to narrow your search down, along with when you use AND or operator to see which exactly the output you want in your query. So you get the idea how to use where clause. Okay, so there is also one more thing I can show you. So let's see, select all from company where, let's say, age, and here we use in keyword. Age is between 26 27. Okay, and we use semicolon and we hit enter. It will show you only those results, 26 27. Okay, now if we use not operator here along with rest of our query, okay, and hit enter, that will result in the respective output as well. So it will fetch all those which are not 26 and 27 too. So you get the idea how to use where clause along with other operators and expressions to narrow or filter your results. Okay, so let's take a look at having clause in PostgreSQL query. We use this query to pick out particular set of rows where you want output that meets a particular condition. So to check that, we will open Psql shell, then we connect to our database. Okay, now I'm connected. I will simply show you my table. Okay, here you see total 15 rows. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to get names from this company table where we want count of those names to be. So what we'll do is we use select name from company group by name, and then we will be using having clause. Count name is, let's say less than or less than 2. That should be good enough. So let's go ahead and hit enter. So when you see the output, you can see these are the names, these are under 2 for count. So none of them are repeated, only appear once. So let's take a look at how you can create schema in Postgres. So basically, schema is a named collection of tables. It can contain views, index, sequence, data types, etc. So think of it as directories, but it doesn't have nested data in it. Basically, it will be only collection of tables. So we will take a look at this SQL shell. I have connected to Postgres database. So let me connect to, let's say, TestDB. Now here I already have one table, named company. Now here, in order to create schema, I will use query create schema, and then let's name this my schema. Then semicolon, and if I hit enter, it should create the schema. So let's take a look at how you can create table in your database schema. I'm repeating, we are creating table in schema. So what we'll do is open Psql shell and then connect to my database, let's say TestDB. Now here I wish to show you how to create table in schema. I already have one schema named my schema. So I will do is create table, then I will type in my schema.company. So this table should contain some of the fields, let's say id integer, and it should not be null. Then comes name, should have varchar 20 and should not be null as well. So we add that. Then age integer and salary integer. Also primary key, which is going to be id. Sorry, it should be id. And then we will close the bracket and then semicolon, hit enter, and we have our schema table created. If you see this create table as return prompt, your schema table is now created. So let's take a look at how you can display schema table. So let me connect to my database, and by using /c testdb, I will connect to TestDB database. Now here I have my schema table. So what I will do, simply type in select all from my schema.company. And if I end this with semicolon and hit enter, that should show you the 4 columns without any data. I have not added any data here, so it will stay empty. But if you have created your schema table and added data, that should show you the content of that schema table. So let's take a look at how you can select or connect to specific database in PostgreSQL. So what we're going to do is we are going to open command prompt, and I will show you how to use command prompt to connect to PostgreSQL to a particular database. So what we will do is we will basically just type in psql, then space, then -h, then localhost, then space, then -p, which is going to be port 5432, then -U, we type in Postgres, and then we point to specific database, which is testdb here. So when I hit enter, it should basically ask me for password, and it will connect me to this database here. As you can see in prompt, testdb is connected. Okay, here you have to go through your command prompt to Psql shell. So let's say when you open Psql shell through your Postgres database, so let me check. Okay, so Postgres and then SQL shell. Let me close this one. Now here you see in SQL shell you will have to log into your host, then give it your database and port, and then also the username. Okay, so here you see by default you get connected to Postgres database. Now to connect to your specific database, what you do is use /c and then name of that database, and then you are connected. Okay, and here you get the message that you are now connected to that database as a user. Okay, and that username. So you get the idea how to connect to Postgres and select a particular database from that. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can set up PostgreSQL for command line using environment variables. So when you wish to run commands such as say CreateDB, okay, by default it won't work. The reason being it is not set up in command prompt with environment variables options. So what we'll do is we will move to our PostgreSQL bin directory, copy address as text, then we will go to type in environment variables. So let's open that. Okay, that should open system properties, something like this. Now click on environment variables. Okay, now here what we have to do is we have to choose the path and click on edit. Now here you have to click new and then paste the address to PostgreSQL bin directory. Click OK, again click OK. Okay, now close the current command prompt and then let's open the new one. Okay, now in E drive what I will do is I will try to see if CreateDB works, and here you see it will ask for password. So here we will type in Psql and we will type in the system password. Okay, so it may ask for authentication failed because I have not set up this user for Psql. However, currently you can see there are no system specific errors here, so we can simply use Psql-h, and here you see it shows that it has recognized Psql, and you can set it up for creating database with CreateDB or using Psql for your default Postgres user. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use CreateDB utility to create database in Postgres using command line. So what we will do is we will open command line, okay, and make sure that you have your Postgres bin path in your system. To test that, simply use CreateDB-h, and here you see option requires an argument /h. So simply CreateDB-help. If you can get output regarding this command, then you can verify that your CreateDB utility is in system path. So next thing would be to actually using CreateDB to create database in Postgres. So we will use CreateDB, then -h, localhost, then -p. Okay, then 5432 is the port. So what we have done is we have mentioned host with -h, then port with -p, then we will use -U and mention the default user Postgres. And let's see, if I want to create database named DemoDB, simply hit enter after this query, and then you have to add the password. Okay, it will take some time and it will return to the prompt once it creates the database. To verify this database is created, we can go to our all apps, and here let me check for Postgres and open SQL shell. I can do the same from command prompt as well, but I'm doing this to show you. Okay, so 5432, and then okay, finally password, and here you will use /n command to check all the databases present. So you can see your DemoDB is created. Okay, so you get the idea how to use CreateDB command line utility to create database with PostgreSQL. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use limit clause with PostgreSQL database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into SQL shell. Okay, so let me add the credentials. So Postgres, then port, then Postgres, then password. Okay, now here I have to connect to TestDB database. Okay, now when I use select all from and then name of my table, I can output all of these rows. Okay, so basically what if I want to limit this output to say 5 or 6? For that we use limit keyword. So select all from company, okay, and limit 5. Okay, so this may not often make sense to you to use then all from company and only limit to 5. So another way to use it is select ID, name, salary, okay, from company and limit to 5. Okay, now it's more sensible because here we are not getting the age and other additional columns and only selecting particular columns and limiting that data. Okay, so you get the idea how to use limit to limit your amount of data retrieved from database table. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can generate universal unique identifier, also known as UUID values, with PostgreSQL database. So what I will do is open Psql shell. Okay, and here I can move to my TestDB database. Okay, after that what we will do is we will type in a query named create extension if not exists, and within double quotes we will type in UUID -OSSP. Okay, then semicolon and hit enter. If it already exists, then it will just return with prompt. Okay, so after that what we'll do is try to generate random UUID values with MAC address, timestamp and random value. So for that type in select UUID generate and then v1. Okay, now if we hit enter we will find that this basically UUID is generated of your MAC address, timestamp and random values. Okay, so there are other ways to generate random numbers as well. So we will use, let's say, select UUID and then generate underscore v4. Okay, and here you see your randomly generated UUID. So you get the idea how to use multiple ways to generate UUID based on MAC address, or let's say based on random numbers. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can export your table to CSV file. So what I'll do is connect to Psql shell here, and as you can see I am connected to Postgres, but I wish to change to, let's say, TestDB database. Okay, now I am connected there. What I need to do is I need to show you my database. So /d should list out the database. So I have company database that I wish to export, so I'm going to use /copy. Okay, so copy company 2, then we have to give it a path. Let's say we want to copy it as company data.csv, then CSV and header. Okay, and end it with semicolon and hit enter. And as you can see it says copy 15, so let's check out if it is copied or not. And then we will open this in Excel, and here it is, created company data. So let's open it in Excel. Okay, now here you see the content of 15 rows has been copied to this CSV file. So you get the idea how to export your CSV file basically with the table content in your PostgreSQL database.